So I'm here today with Mike Miller. This is the Young Person Basketball Podcast.
With old
Mike, what's
people on
good?
it. I'm great, man. I'm really good. How about yourself?
We just gonna jump right into it.
Uh,
All right. What you been up to these days since you've been in the NBA? You played 17 years, 2 championships. What you been up to?
I'm representing some kids in the NBA, some young players. Obviously, one of them being you.
Yep.
So started my own agency, Live Sports Management. Just exciting times for me. It's been a lot of fun so far. Learning experience for sure.
Right. Before you did Lift, you were coaching at the University of Memphis. What was that transition going from player to coach and then now coach to agent?
It was different. I mean, obviously, as a player, you control a lot.
Right.
You control your work. You control the outcomes. As a coach, you're leaving it up to young kids to determine that. But it was a grind, but it was fun. You know, I've always in my life when I got to where I was as a professional basketball player was always trying to help and guide young people and young kids. And so getting that coaching was an easy transition that way. The basketball side of it was a little bit more difficult.
Right.
But that's why the transition from that to the agency was the same. It was ultimately the same deal, right? Like you're helping young kids, hopefully guiding them in the right directions. Some of the mistakes you made, some of the things you did right, hopefully you can push these guys in the right directions. And so far, it's been a lot of fun.
Yep. And then what would you say like your takeaways from the 17 years in the NBA was? Like your biggest takeaway, whether it was like a lesson or something you wanted to give to like the kids you worked with?
I think the biggest lesson is the highs and lows. Like it's never as good as it seems. It's never as bad as it seems. Right. Like I think, when you're going through it, and for all young kids who, everyone always talks about sacrifice and understanding sacrifices, but it's a lot easier to sacrifice. You know what the outcome is. Unfortunately, we never know what the outcome is. So it's never as good as it seems, never as bad as it seems. I think sat with me really, really well because in the heat of it with 82 game seasons, obviously you've been through it now.
Yeah.
You play great one game, you think you're on top of the world and life is great. You play a couple bad games, you're like, oh my goodness, it's terrible. So just understanding that part of it and sticking to your routines and knowing who you are and the grind you do will get you through everything.
Yeah. So I wouldn't even be a host if I didn't ask this question.
Uh-oh.
Play with a lot of great players, but obviously you play with LeBron James.
Yeah.
How was that? Like for people who just like are watching on the outside looking in. I've even played against LeBron, but don't know what it is like playing with him.
It's playing with him it's an unbelievable experience. I mean, first of all, he's as good as a teammate as he is as a player, and he lifts everybody in that locker room. So like, having that opportunity to play with him, most importantly, was able to put me on a stage that I always wanted to be on, right? When I went through free agency and it was other teams, and then when LeBron called in Miami with what they had, it made the decision easy. I was offered more money to go other places, but my entire life, and I'm sure you've done it too as a young kid, is you wanted to see how you'd react on that stage.
Yep.
And for me, I'd had a lot of individual success, but didn't have the team success that I wanted. And I wanted to see if I'd puke on the big stage or if I'd make shots.
Right.
And so, every kid on the playground or when they're in the gym is thinking about playing on that stage in the NBA Finals. And he allowed me to live that out along with D Wade and Chris Bosh and Ray Allen and UD. So just an unbelievable experience, but ultimate dude, man. He's the best.
Yeah, you just named it. D Wade, Chris Bosh, Ray. How did those competitive practices go? Like, was it just
OD.
full out brawl, competitive?
Yeah, the practices were the best. We really got after it. That's where I learned through all of it when the difference between culture-driven organizations and practices and your star players driving that.
Right.
I've had unbelievable coaches, and not only in high school but in college and the NBA. But there's something to be said about your best player driving, your best players driving practice.
Right.
And for guys like us that were going through it, we had a professional team, no doubt. But you see those guys strap up and get after it, and talking that and playing and competing. It just drives the practice, and a coach can only do so much. So you're driven by your best player, especially in the NBA.
Yeah, so I know like when y'all were on the road, it was just probably OD. Just every stadium y'all went to was packed out. What was the team planes like? Did you like choose your seat on the team plane? Did Bron have his own seat? Were y'all all together chilling? Like, how was it?
No, like everyone was together. That was what made our team special. Like Bron is just one of the dudes. That's what I'm telling you. That's what makes him. That's why his teams is why people want to play. Like people take less money to play. Obviously, you take less money to play because you're betting on yourself and you want to win championships. But he's one of them dudes like you want to be on a team with, and it trickled down. And that's the Heat culture, anyways, right? Like there's it's going to be this way.
Yeah.
But he was one of those guys anyways where I fit in, and he learned just as much as we all learned. And that's why he was able to carry championships from there to Cleveland, from Cleveland to LA. Like learning that, it's one thing to get there. It's another thing to win it. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do. So, our team was just cool. Like we're all at the same stage where everyone was all in. Like our chips were on the table and we were all in, and we were either going to do it together or we are going to fail together. One of them was going to happen.
What do you think your first example of a business in the NBA, like from being young in the NBA and then like you were like, dang, this is a business?
Traded on my birthday.
You got traded on your birthday?
Traded on my birthday.
Oh, I never knew that.
From Orlando.
From Orlando? They traded you on your birthday?
Yeah. I was sitting at birthday dinner. It was me and T-Mac. Udonis Hazing was in town. We're breaking bread, about to have a nice dessert, and my phone rang. And I said, I just got traded. And Mac looked at me and said, no, you didn't. I talked to him earlier. And so I got traded. I picked up the phone and it was it. But what you fail to realize when you're 20, 21 years old is that it's all about the business part of it. And you don't hold regrets to it, because what you got to do is sometimes you have to get uncomfortable. Right. And when I got traded, it was uncomfortable. It really was. Like you're like, oh, snap. What am I going to do now?
Right.
And you go to Memphis. It's a new team. It's the middle of the season. It's February. It's February trade deadline. And you go there and you grind. You make the most of it. But it really helped me, and I loved playing in Orlando. I didn't ever want to leave there.
Right.
And I was, it was right down the road from Gainesville where I went to school, and T-Mac was my dude. And Grant Hill, I learned a ton from. Monty Williams was down there. But when I got that, what it did for me was it put me in an uncomfortable spot where my back was against the wall a little bit, as far as questioning yourself even a little bit. Why am I getting traded?
Yeah.
But it made sense to them at the time, and it made sense to Memphis at the time. So when you really look back at it, you're not supposed to know it at 21, 22. But at 42, I'm like, yo, they did Magic the right thing.
The right thing. Yeah.
So it's like it's one of those things where you just learn a lot about the business early, and the more you can understand it and have self-awareness, the easier your whole career will be.
So obviously you live in Memphis now.
Yeah.
Since you got traded then, is that just always somewhere you just like, I'm going to end up living here after I'm done playing?
Yeah, you never know that when you're going into it, but like I lived a majority of my adult life in Memphis.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when you grow up.
How long did you play there for?
I played there a total of almost 10 seasons.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But like, so, 1 through 18, you're growing up in high school. You go to college for 2 years, right? At least I did. You didn't. Go to college for 2 years, and then you go and for 17 seasons, 3/4 of it's in one city. And at the ages 22 to 31-ish, that's where you grow your relationships in the city, and they love hoop, man. Like that city loves hoop, and it was me. It's kind of hard work, grind it out. That's the city, that's me, and it just fit.
Who was some of your favorite teammates on like Grizzlies teams that you were playing on?
All across the board, man. I had awesome ones. Shane Battier was great. Jay Will was the best.
Yeah.
Posey, Bonzi. I played with both Gasols. Zebo was freaking great. Mike Conley. I've seen a ton of rookies come through.
Yeah.
When you're old like me, you have a lot of rookies, man. Kyle Lowry was a rookie for me. Mike Conley was a rookie for me. Rudy Gay was a rookie for me.
Kyle Lowry played with Memphis.
And I'm saying for me, for those teams.
For the team,
But I was kind of starting becoming the old head there, and to kind of guide them. And then, again, like I said, that guidance and the way I did those things is exactly why I got into college coaching, and is why I got in the agency. It's like, help groom these dudes, like not tell them what to do, but show them, man, I screwed up doing that.
Right.
I did really good with that. If you stick right here, you'll have a great career.
Right. Speaking of Memphis, Kobe incident, he got suspended for a game, or was it a game or two for the elbow?
Yeah.
How did that go? Did you and Kobe have any bad blood after that, or was it?
Nah, Kobe, God rest his soul, loved this. I mean, he was like, he was everything I liked. He was all about ball. And so me and him were actually cool. And at the time, I drove baseline. I think it was Sasha, one of the dudes from the Lakers, fouled me. My arm slung back and hit him in the eye. Yeah. And it split his stitches open. And he was hot. Like he was all kinds of hot. He was talking about, I was at the free throw line. He's like, man, I'm gonna get your ass back, bye. And I was just like, yo, like, my bad, dog. Like, you know what I mean?
I didn't mean to do it.
Yeah, like it's not on me, but I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
It is.
But he's a man of his word.
Right.
First play he got back after getting stitched up, I drove through a no-look pass. He about took my esophagus out. It hurt more than anything I've ever gone through because it was right there on the like it hurt.
It hurt.
And I had to bounce up though, because I had to act like I was a little bit tough.
Yeah.
But I didn't want him to get suspended. I got it. Like that's part of the game.
Yeah.
When the NBA called me on, I was like, yo, it was cool. Like we dapped up. Yeah, it is what it is. And, you know, I played USA basketball with him. When I was a free agent, I was getting ready to go to Miami. He was one of the first ones that called me to go to LA. Like, that's my dude. He's about the right things, man. He was a grinder, and we all miss him, obviously.
Yeah, no.
My esophagus just doesn't miss him.
So now we got to go into probably one of the most memorable final shots of all time, the one shoe shot.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind? First of all, when your shoe came off, and were your shoes not tied enough? Like what happened?
No, I don't know who it was for San Antonio. Did like a jump hook, and I went to go rebound it, and he stepped on the back of my shoe. My shoe came off.
You were rebounding pretty good that game.
Yeah. Thank you. You're a student of the game, coach.
Boys.
You got. But you know, I went to go untie it, and it was knotted up.
Right.
And Bron was already pushing the ball up the court, so I was like, okay, I got to follow in. And at that point in my career, with my health and where I was at, like, with a shoe on or shoe off, the only thing I wanted to do was shoot anyways. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
So like when my shoe came off, I think it was Patty Mill. One of the guys would guard me. He ran away from me, and I had no options. Like,
no options.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna shoot it no matter what. That's what shooters do.
Yeah.
And he throw me 2 basketballs at a time, I'll shoot both of them.
Right.
So I had no shoe on. It is what it is. I let it fly and made it.
Yeah, that was a crazy
moment.
finals. Would you say that's one of the craziest atmospheres at finals?
You know what? All of them were. You know, the first one was wild because the first time you're there is Dallas, and you know we had them beat, but you know they came back and got us, and so you know we win game 1 by a large margin. Game 2 we're up 13 or 17 with not very much time to play. They come back, they make a big time comeback. We win game 3, but then they win 4, 5, and 6. But you learn from it. Yeah. But finals are just like that. Like, it's just, you know, 80 million people are watching you play. It's everything, every possession, every loose ball, everything. Then you go OKC. They had that young gangster squad.
And then Russ.
Every finals, every game you play against Pop and San Antonio with that team was wild, because it's like they're always throwing you curveballs. Yeah. And so it's just unbelievable platform to be on, man.
Right.
Blessed.
With in 2006, you won 6th Man of the Year. Where would you rank yourself among top 6th Man of the Year ever?
I don't know, man. Like, I think it was kind of cheating because I played a lot of minutes.
Right. Yeah. So how did that work? How many minutes did you play as a 6th man?
Man, I was playing starter minutes. Yeah. But literally, like, all 6 men, they're basically starters. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you're playing huge roles in the team. Mm-hmm. You know, I sacrificed to come off that bench, but it's great to have it. Yeah. But you know, at the end of the day, man, like, those things don't define you at all. Is it cool? Like, 6th man of the year. Yeah. I just know the biggest thing I take away from being 6th man of the year is that I played my role and I started my role. And that's when you get done with your career, not necessarily when you're in it, you don't realize it, but starring your role in this league will get you paid a lot of money, and it's the best thing you can possibly do for yourself in your career.
Right. So these are questions I ask everybody to come on here. Mm. What was your first impression of me when you met me? What did you think? You met me a long time ago.
Yeah, now, I mean, it's hard because I met you at 14, 15 years old, man. So, like, uber talented, like, ooze personality and talent. But, like, to me, he's always been a dude that's just genuine and family and gets it. You know what I mean? That's why I recruited you at Memphis when I was there, and you said no to me. It broke my heart.
That's great.
And that's why I came back and tried to get you a lift.
Now I'm here.
You know what I mean? Now we're family again.
We're family again.
Yeah.
You may start noticing there are strange tall boys of beer in the bottled water section of your local stores. Well, it's not beer. It's actually mountain spring water from the Alps, and it's called Liquid Death. Did you know that plastic isn't actually recyclable anymore? And how plastic you throw in a recycling bin actually just gets sent to a landfill because it's not profitable to recycle? Aluminum is infinitely recyclable and actually profitable for recycling facilities. How about that fun fact for the day? You know, I really like this. Damn it! I spilled it on my hand. Well, I'm kind of mad I spilled that on my hand because it's such a great drink. You know, now I can't have all of it. This is the mango chainsaw flavor. You know, I really do think I've seen some of my teammates with this in the locker room after the game, and you know, one of the coaches asked if they had a beer, and it wasn't a beer. So I like how the can's unique. It doesn't look like every other water that's blue. It's an all gold can, so it You know, it gives it a little spice, a little flavor. Such a cold can, not a plastic bottle like most of all water brands. So this flavor I think is really good. So 10 out of 10 for this one. Remember that you can get Liquid Death at all the big retailers like Amazon, Target, Albertson Safeway, 7-Eleven, or Sprouts, and get free shipping on their crazy limited edition merch and apparel at liquiddeath.com/young. That's liquiddeath.com/young. Yeah. Do you have any bad rookie hazing? Or any rookie hazing that you've seen? You ain't gotta say no names, but
No, I
anything
mean,
you ever seen?
I've never seen anything. Oh, yes, I have. I seen in Washington, we're watching film, and during the film session, 2 big tires came rolling through the film session. It was I think it was JaVale McGee's or Nick Young's
Put his
tires. They put them on bricks. Yeah, it's wild.
Oh no!
And we're watching film, and they roll right across.
Oh,
I said, man, whose tires are those? And you can see whose it was because their face just went white.
You did it?
No, I didn't do it.
You didn't do it?
No, I stayed in my lane, man. I was lucky, man, because my veterans never hazed me.
Yeah.
And you know, I was you know, really fit in, and I had old heads. G Hill was an old head. Monty Williams, Patrick Ewing, Sean Kemp. Like I had like OG vets.
Yeah.
And it was the best thing for me though, because I saw what professionalism looked like at a young age.
Right.
And the younger the game goes, for these guys that are coming in now, that's why the people that hang out and the guidance they get is so important. I was so fortunate to be a part of a locker room like that.
Right.
To where winning mattered to them. You know, it wasn't about where they're going in their careers, about helping and lifting up others. And it was just a blessing for me, because you get in young locker rooms, man, everyone has their own path they're trying to create, and it can be difficult from time to time.
Nah, facts. What do you think the best and least favorite city to travel to was?
I mean, best city to play in probably is New York, the Garden.
Yeah.
Maybe Boston. They're just, the reason I like them is because they're educated fan. Like they're
Boston?
based. Yes.
Yeah.
Like they get it.
They get it for sure.
And they're gonna kill you now.
For sure. For sure.
But like that's part of the game. Like
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I enjoyed road games more than I enjoyed home games sometimes.
Oh yeah.
For the most part. And you know, like all fan bases are getting like that now, because the game's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But
Right.
those places were fun to play in for sure, because of the mystique and the tradition and all that stuff.
Trash talkers. Were you a trash talker?
No.
You ain't talk trash?
Not really.
I feel like you said a little bit of something.
I mean, I held my own.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't going to back down, but I didn't start. I mean, it's, you know, like I learned early, man. Like I had Doc Rivers as my coach, and again, just helped me so much. Like first time I made a 3 as a rookie, or a big moment 3, and I did something. You know, 2 OG coaches on both sides like came up to me and said, "Yo, have you done this shit before?"
Right.
And I was like, "Yeah." He said, "They act like it."
They act like it.
Something else, but I was like, "Yeah, you know what?" And that kind of stuck with me. And it's, but I don't mind. I think it's good for the game.
Yeah.
I think it's fun. It's competitive. But there's a lot of gets talked out there now.
Who's the best trash talker you think you've seen or played against or with?
I mean, Kobe was elite at it.
Yeah.
Kobe was elite at it. Gary Payton was elite at it.
They just start from the jump.
Yeah, I mean, it's for no reason.
For no reason.
Yeah, just
and nothing you had to.
Yeah,
to
they go
on.
sun you from the beginning.
Oh,
they're gonna
that's
try to.
crazy.
But I'll be honest, those guys are fun to play against, man. Like it just, the level of the game goes, especially if you're game 36
Right.
on the road on 4 and 5 nights back to back. Like you're looking for things to level the game up.
To motivate you.
Level the game up, and it's those guys did that, man. They brought all kinds of.
I don't really.
Brian don't talk much. Like he don't need to. I mean, I'm gonna have 30. I'm gonna have 30, 16, and 9. Like, what are you gonna do about it? Like, what are we talking about?
He don't even need to.
No.
What was the craziest? I want to say, like, how do I say, like, crowd reaction or anything crazy that happened in any game you played, as far as like big shot for you or game winner? Like, what's the most memorable crowd reaction you think you had?
The most memorable crowd reaction for me was when Bron dunked on Jay Terry, Jet.
Oh, was that in
Boston?
Boston?
In Boston. It was wild. Like, you don't hear that crowd go quiet.
It went quiet?
Man, you could have, man, listen. Like, and
it was crazy.
Man, our whole bench got teched up. Oh, yeah, it's a wrap.
I remember that.
I was
so young, but I remember that.
It was wild. And it wasn't Jay Terry's fault. Like, it is bad. Wrong place, wrong time.
Wrong place, wrong time.
And at the freight train coming down.
Who threw that? Was that?
No, I think it was Norris Cole, I think, or Mario Chalmers, one of them. I don't know, but it was like a double lob, and it was unreal. and Jet tried to take a jump charge.
Oh, that's crazy. You had a monkey.
Yes.
You had a pet monkey. You had a pet monkey when you were you in Orlando?
Orlando.
Tell us about that. I don't know too many people that got pet monkeys. And why did you get it?
You know what? It was an unbelievable pet. Like me and my wife are both avid animal lovers, and we always wanted one. And
I got a lot of dogs.
Yeah, and we ended up getting it, and it was epic, man. It was smarter than most of my friends at the time. You know, and so, you know, it was a challenge, but it was like having a kid.
Right.
Like my wife would cut holes in the preemie diapers, put diapers on it every day. Like when we leave, put him up in his room.
That's crazy.
This is wild. Sonny was his name, and I've told the story a million times. But we literally left to go to dinner, put Sonny up in his room. We had 2 Great Danes at the time. Put him outside. About an hour and a half into it, I get a phone call. Says your monkey is riding your dogs around the neighborhood.
There's no way that.
Yes. So we had the swing handle doors on our doors, and so Sonny was smart enough to jump up, swing handle open, let the Great Danes in. Swing handle the front door open, and we walked down. I cut the corner, and Sonny was riding Rookie. Rookie was on my Black Great Dane's name.
Yeah.
Riding down. I said, Sonny, get your ass in the house. That man jumped off and whoop, ran all the way, ran down the block. I said, my neighbor's like, who is this dude?
How long did you have him for?
2.5 years. We got rid of him. He got real attached to us. And when we were about to have Mason, my oldest, we just felt like it'd be a little bit to have him with a baby around with him being attached to us, so we got rid of him.
Oh, okay.
Gave him to a sanctuary.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's one of the first people I've ever heard had a pet monkey. I think Michael Jackson had a pet monkey.
Yeah, he did. He did.
What do you think the smartest and dumbest thing you ever spent money on while in the league? Or something that you like wish you didn't spend money on, or something you like were kind of proud you spent money on, or first big purchase?
The smartest thing I ever spent money on. I'm an entrepreneur, so business.
Yeah.
One of the first things I did was bought all the video lottery in South Dakota.
What's that?
Like those video lottery machines that you play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In South, I forgot you're from South Dakota.
So I'm from South Dakota, so I did that. That was probably the smartest thing I did because I learned through it.
Yeah.
And it taught me lessons through business. And it was one that you made money on, but you learned what you can do better. So I think it was one of the smartest things. And it's a boring ass answer, I know. The worst one, man, you know what? I've been pretty good. My dad was tight on me, man. So like any crazy car would probably be the worst one because I don't really.
Nah, you really don't. You keep it.
Yeah.
You keeping it chill. With social media being so like heavy in today's game, do you think that players went out more just because there wasn't social media back in the day?
For sure.
100%?
For sure.
Players are outside?
Yeah. I mean, social media can
so now it's like you can get snapped pictures like, oh, this person.
Social media is a blessing and a curse now. Like if you're smart, you utilize the platform to make tons and tons and tons of money. You're seeing it every day with these dudes. But at the same time, you got to keep your head on a swivel, man. Like back in the day, you go out and tell people you didn't go out.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
That ain't the case no more, guys.
Yeah, nah.
Like, that is not the case no more. So it's like, I think it's good for a lot of aspects. It's really, really tough on some other things.
Right.
Privacy is impossible. But you know, if you're smart about it and you do it the right way, you can make a ton of money doing it, man.
Were you in that Harlem Shake video with the Heat?
I was.
You were?
Yeah.
You was in the background?
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm always in the grab.
What you dress up as?
Man, I don't even know what I have, man. Like some wild ass mask. We all had the mask, and I was the one pushing the hamper.
I remember that now.
The hamper was heavy, man. I think someone was sitting in that thing was heavy as hell.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I was like 10.
Yeah, see, you're too young, man.
I was young when that happened.
Yeah.
So with the whole Memphis and getting traded from Orlando, like explain to people who don't know like how that works. I even went through it because I got traded. But go ahead.
I mean, it's just there's no delay, there's no stop.
Right.
You look in the mirror for about 5 minutes, ask yourself what the hell going on.
Yeah.
The new team sends you your flight information. I flew straight from there to New Orleans. And played the next day. You clear your weight, you clear your physicals, do that stuff. I played the next game. Like there's no time to worry about it. You're just back on that same grind. Now it's just a different team.
How was it with like meshing with new teammates or somebody else has played this amount of minutes? Now you have to come in and play their minutes, or because I mean, you were playing a lot in Orlando, and then
Yeah, I mean, the hardest thing in this league, and you've known that you know this now, is the balance of fitting in and doing you. Right. And when you get to a new team, you have to respect the fact that these dudes have been grinding, and that these coaches have been grinding for this team, and that you're one piece of 15. But at the same time, they traded for you to do you too. And so, like, that's the balance. That's the juggling act, like finding your spot. And you know, that was one of the best blessings ever, because I was able to play for Doc Rivers and learn a ton. But then I went there and got Hubie Brown. And dude, this dude here, man, he's the best. And he believed in me from the beginning and let me rock out game one. And that right there kind of set the tone that I was going to be a good fit for this team. And that makes the transition so much easier. So, you know, I was able to go in there and have a pretty good game and learn from those guys and fit right in.
Gave you a lot of confidence.
Yeah, for sure. And that's, you know how it is. That's what you want.
That's what you want.
That's what you want. You want your teammates to believe in you. You want the coaching staff to believe in you. Once you have that, now you're there for a reason. You got talent. Right now, when everyone else believes in you, it just takes that talent to the next level. Yeah, for sure. No, and I think the biggest thing is, like, I learned through that, going, getting traded. But you've done the same thing. You talk about it, and I was with you through that process, obviously being your agent, and having those conversations. So when you got to Orlando, coming from Denver, who I thought was a great spot, both of them have been good, but I thought it was a great spot as well. So what was that transition like for you? Because obviously every story is different, every pass different.
Honestly, I was confused. Like, I didn't really know you could get traded as a rookie. I'm being dead serious. I did not know you could get traded. But honestly, I mean, like you said, it was kind of like you got to look at your phone. For me, it was like look at my phone for 5 minutes, see if this was real. And then my flight information was there. I was in a new city the next day with new teammates, and you just kind of got to fit in. There's new coaches, new training staff, got to get to know everybody. But, like, especially like you said, you know, if a team is instilling confidence in you, that just only takes your game to new levels. So, and then I got traded with Gary, and Gary was one of my guys in Denver, so it made it a lot easier.
Best thing about it is only hoop. It's always hoop, no matter where you're going, you're hooping, man. So it's cool.
Mike Miller, my agent, 17-time NBA vet, 2-time NBA championship. I appreciate you coming through.
Man, appreciate you.
The Young Person Basketball Podcast, and hopefully we get you back for like season 2 or 3 when
the Old Person on the Young Person Podcast.
I appreciate you can do the Old Person Basketball Podcast.
Yeah, I can do an Old Person one. Appreciate you having me, bro.
Yes, sir.